Bill Apter here with me, SportsKeeda journalist. SportsKeeda Awards are being voted on right now by a panel of experts and fans. You've given out a bunch of awards over the years, to put it
Oh my
lightly,
God.
physically, and now digitally. People are voting on it. Tell me about your involvement in this so far.
Well, several months ago, I received a call from several of the top executives at SportsKeeda. And I'm going to ask you because most people don't know what this means. Do you know what SportsKeeda means?
So I know the Keeda part.
Oh, what is the Keeda part? I want to see if you
Worm.
have the same. What's
Worm.
that? Worm. So SportsKeeda is a sports worm, like a bookkeeper would be a bookworm. You're
Mhm.
out of maybe 25 interviews I've done in my media tour for the SportsKeeda Wrestling Awards in the past few weeks. You're the only one who knew what that was. So congratulations. We now we have no prizes, unfortunately. So, but yes, a little Barry Horowitz on the back. So the executives there had gotten in touch with me, Raju Dasgupta. I never pronounce his name right. The content editor recommended that they get a hold of me because they were Ryan Bowman, who was one of my correspondents back at onewrestling.com, which closed, unfortunately, during the time Bob Ryder had passed away, the man who started that website. And they got a hold of me and asked me if I'd like to come on board in the capacity of doing writing, videos, and a liaison, a kind of a face with the wrestling community, because I've been doing this for almost 51 years now. So they were very kind and very nice to me, very welcoming. And we tried it out for a month, and I love being there. I still hold a full-time job during the day too, for a company called Altec, Altec, Access Services in the Fort Washington and Hatfield, Pennsylvania areas, helping people with disabilities to find jobs. So I love doing that and helping people change their lives in a positive way. And the other part, of course, staying as the most recognizable face in the world of pro wrestling reporting.
RVD, DDP, Arn Anderson, Eric Bischoff,
Wait, you have
yourself,
to say him AA. It's all
AA.
initials.
I didn't want to do too many of the abbreviations because I was afraid I was going to get
It's
tongue
a
tied. But
rap
yes,
song,
double
Bill.
A.
It's a rap song. It's DDP, RVD, Booker T. You know, that's
So a couple. Those are a couple of the names. I really like this. Like I talked to Riju about it, and I've gotten to know him over the years. Just
oh, great.
being on some of the same press calls, and he's a very big Walking Dead fan. I am myself.
I know. I know.
Uh, he, I mean, sidetrack, but if you guys want to see some really cool Walking Dead interviews, like Riju interviews them on SportsKeeda, like interviews the cast right now. So it's really cool to see not just wrestling, but have some other stuff going on there. But yeah, this is a really different approach to awards because it's not a year end, but it's still celebrating the year before. It stands out.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
do you look for when you
Well,
know,
before you get to that, regarding The Walking Dead, so Ric Flair's ex, Wendy Barlow, you probably didn't know this. They filmed in Georgia. Her children were extras. They were zombies.
no, I did no,
Yeah,
I
I
didn't.
know. Most people don't.
That that
Little known fact.
is the son a singer? Do I have that
What's
right?
that?
The son is a singer. Do I have
I
that?
don't know. I don't know, but I do know they were zombies.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
no, I didn't know that part. That's pretty
and
cool
about 1 a.m. usually every morning, I pretty much turn into one as well.
though.
So what I'd like to do, if you don't mind, I want to kind of turn this around on you. I know this is your show, but I'd like to find out uh, of Bill Pritchard, the wrestling fan, not the journalist, not that great journalist that we all know, but I want to know the kid fan in you that watches pro wrestling. I'd like to hit you up with well, maybe all 13 of the categories real quick, and maybe you can tell me who the fan in you might choose and shorthand reason why. You game for it?
Yep. And I
Like I
have
said, there's no
I have the
prizes.
voting, the ballot in front of me. So
Well, you do? Okay. All right. Well, our fans obviously cannot see the ballot unless you can share it on your screen. I don't know if you can.
post production, I can.
Okay, you can do it. But you know what? I'll read them for you. Okay. And again, there's no prizes, Bill. We live what, 10 minutes from each other? You pick the pizza place, I'll buy. Limit 2 slices though.
Sounds good.
All right, so let's start off with the big one. The first one, male wrestler of the year, and the nominees are, this is award time in Hollywood too. The nominees are Roman Reigns, Big E, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, and Kenny Omega. Who would you pick and why?
I'm gonna go with Roman Reigns strictly for the fact that he has the longer title reign, and this is not a slight on Kenny Omega at all. I just think Roman elevated himself a little bit more in this title reign over the past year, and Kenny was kind of already at that level, and he was already consistently good. It's just I think Roman did a little bit more to help himself.
Sounds great. So you now, because you said that, you get to sit at the side of the head of the table with him. All right. The female wrestler of the year, we've got Becky Lynch, the man. We have Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Mickie James.
I'm going to go with Bianca Belair.
Okay, and the reason beside her wonderful hair.
The hair, she has the accomplishments. She won the Royal Rumble, main evented WrestleMania and won a championship. Other stuff like outside of the ring, she got the key to the city in Knoxville, where she's from. Really resonates with the crowd. She lost the title, and that's a whole other conversation, but I think she had the best full year consistently, like especially
it was the EST the whole year.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So now the rookie of the year, Hook, who we have not seen a lot of, but he certainly has made a great impression. Jade Shargle, Braun Breaker, the son of Rick Steiner, Tony D'Angelo, and Cora Jade.
Jade Cargill.
Yeah. About 99% of everyone has chosen her, and she has that look of a future monster. A lot of people are comparing her in some ways with China. Do you kind of see that contrast at all? Okay.
I can see it. I mean, the reason I pick her is she's been presented as a star the whole time. Looks like one, undefeated, had a really big match with the mixed tag match with, Shaq and Cody and Red Velvet being involved. And again, the other 4 nominees, not taking away from them, but they didn't have a full year of work to judge off of. And, Jade has that. Her resume and her record speaks for herself.
And she looks special too. It's funny that when I was talking one day with Jimmy Hart about this, and he was talking about her, and he says, if you see her and anybody and walking with some regular people or whatever in an airport, you're going to look at her and say, who is that? That's somebody special. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She looks the part. Match of the year, we've got the AEW World Champion, Hangman Adam Page against Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson, Becky Lynch against Charlotte Flair. So it was the man against the man's daughter. If you figure that one out, I know you can. The Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers, Walter versus Dragunov in that chop fest, and Edge versus Seth Rollins. How do you do that?
I'm gonna go with Edge versus Seth Rollins,
Okay,
with
very good
the Young
choice.
Bucks versus Lucha Bros being very closely behind. I think it's funny that both of those involve a cage, but I'm gonna go Edge
Yeah.
versus Seth Rollins.
Okay. We're going now to the feud of the year. CM Punk versus MJF. Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page. Roman Reigns versus John Cena. Seth Rollins versus Edge, or Shida versus Deeb.
I'm gonna stick with Edge versus Seth Rollins.
Okay. Okay. Again, another very good choice.
I feel
But
like I feel like CM Punk versus MJF's carrying into this year, and it's, there's still some story left to be told, like we're
it
gonna
certainly
see
is.
at Revolution. So I feel like it's not really over.
Okay. I
So
don't feel it's over either. I feel that MJF is not actually being sincere with what he said recently on TV about how abused he was. And I don't know, there's something that tells me that it's not all true. I've tried to contact some of his friends on Long Island. Nobody's picked up yet. So, because I'm a Long Island kid originally, well, Queens, Bronx. Okay. Going to jump down in for a time here. The moment of the year, CM Punk's return, which was incredible. Bianca Belair winning. The Forbidden Door opens with Impact Wrestling. Big E becomes champ, or Bryan Danielson's debut in AEW.
CM Punk returns.
Yeah, how could that anything? So, I mean, that 15 or 20-minute ovation that he got, I always said that was a Hogan pop.
That was unreal. Like I was at home, and I like you could hear it on your TV, and just this was weeks later but when he was here in Philadelphia and he did the match with Daniel Garcia, like he was
Yeah,
still getting the biggest ovation like
still
weeks
there.
later. So it was something that was sustained. But as far as him returning, that's probably the one thing I thought was never going to happen again, and it
Yeah,
did.
best ovation in the world. New title for him. And finally, let's go to the tag team of the year. We've got the Good Brothers, RK Bro, the New Day, the Lucha Brothers, or the Usos. Who do you pick?
I'm gonna go with the New Day.
Okay. And are you? I did a column on SportsKeeda, and if anyone wants to see my columns on SportsKeeda, just go to your favorite browser and put in Bill Apter SportsKeeda profile, and it'll take you to the 12 stories that I've done so far. But I did a story that how is Big E going to get back into title contention? He seems to be having a nice time with his back with his New Day pals, but at this point, is he in storyline scared of Brock Lesnar on a one-on-one, or is he just biding his time and waiting to see what's going to have happen at WrestleMania and then challenge for the title right now? But he just doesn't. He went from the champion to, hey, I'm back with my buddies again. What do you think?
I don't like how the whole thing was handled. I understand that everything ebbs and flows, but I kind of feel like in a way he wasn't given a proper chance to show what he can do. And nothing against Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns, but I feel like they could have maybe given Big E a little bit more of a chance to prove himself. And if they were going to take the title off of him, have something ready for him to transition into. Right now, it feels like, kind of like you said, he just met back up with his friends.
Yeah, yeah. So last question on this, and I'm just going to give you a choice of two people right now: Paul Heyman, MJF. Who's the best promo of those two?
Paul Heyman.
Okay, all right. It's good to, there's been a lot of 50-50 this year because Paul Heyman's been around for Paul Heyman. I don't know if you felt this way because you go back to the being really well schooled in the wrestling business. But Paul Heyman 2 weeks ago on Raw, when he was talking to Brock Lesnar from the on the Titan train near the stage there, Captain Lou Albano came out of him. His heroes were Albano, the Wizard, and Blassie. And I could swear that Lou Albano just captured at Madison Square Garden. We're going to get you. We're going to eat you up, Brock Lesnar. And it just was Captain Lou Albano all over again for me.
It's nuance, I want to say. Like, there's nothing specific that he does, but there's like kind of like the way he tilts his head or the way the delivery. It's nuance. Like, I totally see that.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, that's the end of my questions to you regarding the SportsKeeda year-end awards. And I thank you for being my victim here. But yeah, this is exciting. It's the first time that SportsKeeda has done this. And I'm hoping it will be a yearly tradition. And I'm very thankful and thrilled to be back on your show. It's been a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I have one more question for you.
I'm here.
What do you look for in a year-end award winner? Because, like I alluded to, you've given some of these awards away. Everybody calls them the Apter mags, but Mr. West.
Dave Meltzer came up with that, and I used to call him and say, "Don't say that." He said, "Well, you're the face of the magazines on TV." I said, "Yeah, but they're the Stanley Weston, my mentor, the publisher. They're his magazines." He said, "No, they're the Apter mags," and that he's the one who coined that.
Yeah, and I say Weston now because I've heard you say it over the years, like, "Oh, Mr. Weston, he was my boss." Like, no, that wasn't. But
my mentor.
You've presented plaques. I've seen another person you've worked with over the years, Josh Chernoff, present awards in person at, I think was it the Ring of Honor tapings going back?
Yeah, he and I gave Colt Cabana and Ian Riccaboni. Yes, yeah. Josh lives right in my neighborhood, and when we moved here 28 or 29 years ago, he was outside he knew who I was, and somebody told him I was moving into the neighborhood. So he's been an adopted nephew since, and he's got a great gig going now with Fight TV. I'm so proud of him. Yeah. So proud of him.
Yeah, I just talked to him, I want to say about 2 weeks ago, and he was telling me how it was your suggestion to find a gimmick. So you're partially responsible for the ties.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, look at this gimmick. I had this made up as soon as I was hired for SportsKeeda, Bill Apter reporting. Yeah. This was not an official SportsKeeda hat. I had this all made up. But in answer to your question, what do I look for? Someone who captured the essence of the business and was able to transfer that out to the fans, to the public. Somebody special, someone who really meant something to the fans. And if you go back to the days when I presented them on TBS and in Jim Crockett promotions, there were always these great people like Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, Arn and Tully. I mean, they're just the list of Hulk Hogan, Sting. These people brought something so special to give the fans the ultimate in pro wrestling and entertainment. So that's really when I present someone with an award, Ric Flair, of course, is I want to present it to them because it's, even though the fans may have voted for that person or whatever, I want to give them recognition from the magazines that I worked for and the fans for being special and making everybody feel special.
Okay. I slightly fibbed. I have one more question.
You can fib for a while. It's all right.
We are talking about the best of 2021. I have a run-in right now. Come on.
That's okay.
They're out. We're talking about the best of 2021. Any early favorites to who you'd maybe nominate for the 2022 Wrestling Awards?
Already?
Male, I'll simplify it. Male wrestler, female wrestler. So far, 3 months.
Give me a choice of 3 or 4 people. Male to start with.
I would say Roman Reigns, Hangman Page, and MJF. We'll throw
Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns has not fully grown into what he's going to be yet. I think his persona, his excellent ring skills are getting better and better each time. And there's something a lot of people just don't really think about, but he's so intent on that whole, even though people don't think of him from that Samoan dynasty, he loves to bring that whole Samoan dynasty with him, so to say, not physically, but in terms of people knowing where he came from. So I think there's a lot more to come from Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I would agree. It's amazing to think that he's already this far and there's still so much that he can do as far as ranking him in the all-time.
Bill, I remember him several years ago at AFA, his uncle's birthday party in Allentown with about 20 people at a Chinese restaurant. And I barely knew him. And, you know, he was Joe. How you doing, Joe? How you doing? And we left the restaurant. Hey, see you, Joe. See you. Yeah, okay. Nothing special. And now look at him. You never know. What about female? Who do you give me a choice of 3?
Right now, I'm going to say Becky Lynch, Mickie James, Britt Baker.
Well, Britt Baker, I think we haven't seen the best of her yet either. We're on the way to DMD, of course. But, you know, it's such a shame that in terms of, thank you for doing that. It's such a shame that one woman that I really want to see at the top of the business, there's been so many unfortunate incidents where she allegedly got into trouble and stuff. And that is the loss in the big time of Tessa Blanchard. One of my favorite personalities and an incredible wrestler. And she's unfortunately, she's been put out of favor. And for some reasons, I don't go into those kind of things, but I'm hoping that will eventually come to a head. It'll be talked about, corrected, whatever it is, and that we can see Tessa Blanchard at the top of WWE, AEW, or the return of Ring of Honor or NWA.
Ring of Honor's coming back in a month's time. There's, as we're talking tonight,
I think
plenty of rumors.
Yeah, I think, and this is nothing I know, that Cesaro is going to wind up as one of going back there, and he'd be the first major name to, and I hope so. That'd be great for him.
I would love that. First chance to see if that happens is in Dallas, but then they just announced Philadelphia gets the first TV taping. So who knows? April 10th.
Yo, Philly, I'm glad.
Right?
I'm glad. Before we leave, because I'm on a time schedule too, we're taping this, of course, as AEW is about 8 minutes away on TBS. Is wrestling fixed?
I didn't know it was broken.
Another one. Thanks, Bill. Still available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, etc. And you can follow me at Apter One Wrestling on Twitter. And please go to SportsKeeda profile, Bill Apter, and check out what I've written. And please do your duty as a wrestling citizen. There's still a few days left, and go out to the polls in your house on your computer. Call up any story at SportsKeedaWrestling.com, and it will take you to the page where you can vote. And of course, be a reader, a viewer, and a constant fan of WrestleZone.